Good day everyone, and welcome to a new Dauntless video. Take a look around. Take in what you see, because it could be the last time you actually set eyes upon this island. That's right, because the sneak peek I've just shown you is the new island which is set to replace the Twilight Sanctuary. But not only that, we've just had word that Restless Sands, Frostmarch, Thunderwatch and the Fortune's Folly will all be joining the Twilight Sanctuary as they head off to the great hunting ground in the sky. In other words, discontinued. And this was just some of the new interesting information which was shared to us in the recent developer leak on Reddit. So, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I think the best way to go about this is to go through all the highlights from the recent dev leak. And thankfully, on Reddit, someone's put together essentially a compilation of all those highlights, so it's very useful to us for this. Okay, so the first new piece of information, which is shared from Kazakh, in response to what we'll do after a new weapon is fully levelled up in this new weapon progression system. In response, Kazakh states, "You wait for the next weapon to be launched. We intend to launch something like one weapon per season. We're considering moving towards 6 weeks per season instead of 12 weeks. So thankfully this means they will be adding more weapons to the game as the seasons go on. However, I am sceptical on how long they'll be doing this for. I mean, we look at the content drought just now. I can imagine at some point in the future that'll happen again. I wonder how long they'll consider supporting that. Okay, so next. In response to whether any currencies will be reset before the update releases, Kazakh states, "No, being super transparent, I wish I could reset the economy. But this would be super harsh for slayers that have been playing for a very long time. Being a founder, I know how painful this would be." So I can imagine many veterans will be quite happy with that information. You'd imagine that would have been the case without it even having to be stated. Next, in response to what will happen to patrol keys. So after release, we are discussing adding another use for keys. Now personally, I'm not sure if they were completely doing away from it with patrol chests. I remember them talking about it in the past. It does seem like patrol chests will be gone now, so yeah, it's interesting to see what they'll be doing with these patrol keys. They've just stated that they're not going to be doing away with any currencies. I would assume patrol keys are a form of currency, and if they don't have patrol chests, then you wonder what they're going to be used for. Interesting, it seems like they have no idea at this stage. Okay, so in response to a comment about the bio and descriptions of behemoths, and I assume this is when you get the description of, the background lore of every behemoth, Kazakh states, "Cool. I'm writing Crudgies this week, by the way." So I'm not too sure about the background of these questions, and I'm not going to explore just now. However, it is interesting to see that Kazakh is currently working on Crudgies description. You'd imagine they would be in the later stages of releasing that behemoth. Very exciting. Okay, so I'd say these are all pretty generic questions and answers at this stage. However, we're getting into the really juicy information. The new Umbral Island that will be replacing the Twilight Sanctuary. And you can see it here. When we started the Shattered Isles, we mentioned that we wouldn't be making any new maps. Well, as many things related to the game development, things change. Together with the update, we're releasing a brand new Umbral map. Name still to be revealed, but here's a sneak peek. This is the endgame Umbral hunting grounds. Twilight Sanctuary is being retired. In addition to this, Kazakh also states that Restless Sands, Frostmarch, Thunderwatch and Fortune's Folly will also be heading off to the great hunting ground in the sky with the 2.0 launch. Emberthorn Cove will also move to a more second stage from the hunting grounds intended for mostly first time players. So if there's anything you really want to do on those islands, get going. Josh Hood adds to this by stating there's still plenty of islands, we're just clearing up some of the ones where we reuse the map a lot and streamlining the flow for different player levels and elements. So I find this very interesting, and I actually think it's a wonderful idea. Yes, I'm going to miss some of these islands partially. However, how many copy and paste islands do we have in the hunting grounds? How many times do you see that same Fortune's Folly or Ulrich's Peak map used over and over again, just with a slightly different colour palette and very much more difficult behemoths in it? I think the fact that they're completely recreating islands is a much better idea. It'll definitely add much more depth to the game and make the hunting ground experience far less repetitive. That's something that always kinda annoyed me when they launched the hunting grounds. I understand that they had limited resources and timing when implementing that update. However, the fact that there's so many copy and paste islands, so many islands that are the exact same or slightly extended on from each other with a slightly different change to them, wasn't something I enjoyed. So as much as I'm sad to see these islands go, it's a good thing. and it'll be interesting to see what they have planned in the future. Okay, so moving on from this, and I would consider that to be the highlight of this dev leak. However, we do have some more interesting information to share. So someone asks about the new Behemoth after the Crudge, and obviously the Crudge is the big Behemoth we've been waiting for a very long time for to be added to the game, and we're very much looking forward to it. The concept looks very cool, the animations look very cool, the fact that they're working on the soundtrack and all this kind of stuff is quite exciting, but what's coming after that? And it sounds like they actually have plans. So Kazakh states the next Behemoth after Crudge is how do you pronounce that? The next Behemoth after Crudge is canonically, is that the right pronunciation? A she, states Kazakh. In response to the concept of behemoths having genders not aligning with the existing lore, to elaborate on this, behemoths do not have genders at this stage. They state, hey, that doesn't mean it invalidates the lore at all. No, the world is not static, and behemothologists continue making discoveries about the creatures. In response to whether the she-behemoth will be Nota, codename for one of the future behemoths currently under development, Kazakh states, it isn't going to be Nota. We want to save that for another season. That's exciting, so they have behemoths planned for the behemoth after this and the one after that. We have this one thematically aligned with the season theme. Okay, so setting that aside for a little bit, in response to the possibility of adding Epic Games achievements for something more to grind towards, Joss Hood states, we plan to support Epic achievements later in the year, yes, but not at the Shattered Isles launch. Same list as consoles, except for the Shattered Isles changes of course, so it looks like they are implementing more achievements, or achievements in general, to Dauntless, but not at launch of this big update. So in response to a comment stating that Slayers are getting nerfed and Behemoths are getting harder, Josh Hood just pretty much laughs at that and says, you are not ready. And from Cinco states, from what I've seen so far, some behemoths will get a little bit harder by fixing some unintended issues. So in response to what happens to the Lantern skins after the update, Josh Hood states that skins will still exist, but part of the personality screen now. So this is an interesting one. In response to whether there'll be new voice lines added to the game, Josh Hood states that there's no new voice lines for the Shattered Isles update, unfortunately no. There is of course a new Crudge fight theme coming out, so that's good I guess. I am a little bit disappointed about the voice lines, it'd be nice to add to that a little bit, but I can imagine that's just not something they're going to be exploring. Okay, so this one's also quite interesting. In response to a request to leak the above mentioned Crudge fight theme, Josh Hood states, maybe in a couple of weeks we'll share a bit, but whoa, there's not many more Leak Fridays left. Wow, so not only are we probably getting an update about Crudge very soon, but it seems like they're running out of time until the update launches. In fact, it seems like it could be mere weeks away now. Okay, so finally in this update, we've got a leak of the cosmetic from the upcoming Deep Sea themed Hunt Pass. So that's quite nice, interesting to see. I wonder what else will come with it. It's nice to finally get a new Hunt Pass for the first time in a very, very long time. All Hunt Passes that have come out have been repeats of older Hunt Passes, so it's nice to have a new theme coming along. Okay, so that's it for this dev leak, and I'd say it's one of the more interesting ones for sure. It's becoming very clear that this update is imminent, it's coming soon. We now know that a new weapon should be getting added to the game every 6 or so weeks. It seems they're not going to be interfering with the economy too much, and they're not going to be restarting any of our currencies. However, it seems they don't have a particular use for those patrol keys, which many of us have in abundance. We know there's a new Shattered Isles map coming, and it's an Umbral map which is going to be replacing the Twilight Sanctuary, and the Twilight Sanctuary is going to be retired, along with Restless Sands, Frostmarch, Thunderwatch and Fortune's Folly. And it seems that Emberthorn Cove is going to be removed from the hunting grounds but will remain as an extension of the current training grounds intended for mostly first time players. We now know there's 3 behemoths coming in the future. We have Project Crudge, which should launch with the 2.0 update. We have this new behemoth, which is the first behemoth that's going to have an official gender. And then we have that codename Nota, which they have planned further in the future. In addition to this, they're going to be adding support for achievements on Epic Games as well as on consoles. We now know there's going to be no new voice lines, which indicates there's not going to be any new official game characters added to the game. And finally, we've got a look at one of the cosmetics from the upcoming Deep Sea themed Hunt Pass. The first new Hunt Pass in a very, very long time, which I believe will be launching with this 2.0 update. A lot of new information, a lot of exciting topics to talk about, so let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And that'll about do it for today. If you are new to the channel, please feel free to like and subscribe, and until next time, see you later.